Tarek Ayoub, known as Sydney's Angel of Death, rose from the streets of Yagoona to become one of the city's most feared criminals. By his late 20s, he had survived 2 assassination attempts, operated across multiple gangs including Brothers for Life, the Comancheros, and the Ahmad family network, and was linked to countless contract killings and revenge attacks. On August 26, 2024, his violent career ended in a calculated execution, over 30 bullets fired by 2 masked shooters, a torched getaway car, and 0 traces left behind. His death sent shockwaves through Sydney's underworld, silencing rival networks and demonstrating that even the most ruthless operator was vulnerable. Ayoub's story is a chilling window into modern organized crime, from the streets to the underworld. Tarek Ayoub didn't grow up planning a life of crime. Like many kids in Western Sydney's working-class suburbs, he grew up in Yagoona, where opportunities were scarce and the streets offered something school couldn't: belonging, respect, and money. As a teenager, Ayoub got drawn into one of Sydney's most notorious gangs, the Brothers for Life. This wasn't a group of small-time troublemakers. Brothers for Life was a well-oiled criminal machine, created in 2007 by convicted murderer Bassem Hamzi, straight from behind bars. Hamzi, locked up for killing Chris Tamazes outside a Darlinghurst nightclub, had spent his prison years building a gang fueled by radical ideology, strict loyalty, and ruthless violence. Police searching his cell found sketches of assault rifles, photos of Osama bin Laden, and slogans like courage, honor, no mercy. This was the world Ayoub stepped into. For him, joining Brothers for Life wasn't a shock, it was logical. The gang offered what legitimate society didn't: cash, protection, and a sense of family. But Ayoub wasn't just another recruit. What set him apart was his willingness to get his hands dirty and his total lack of hesitation. When violence was needed, building a reputation for brutality in the underworld, reputation is everything. It's how you earn respect, fear, and survival. And Ayoub's reputation came through calculated, cold-blooded violence. Police linked him to multiple unsolved gang-related murders. While he was never formally charged in many of these cases, his name kept cropping up in intelligence reports on contract killings, revenge hits, and retaliatory attacks that shaped Sydney's gang wars. His nickname, Angel of Death, wasn't street hype, it was fear. One case stands out: 15-year-old Braden Dillon, shot execution style in his bed on Easter Sunday, 2017. The killing wasn't random. It was revenge tied to gang feuds, and police suspected Ayoub may have orchestrated it. The murder of a sleeping child marked a terrifying shift in the underworld. Family and kids were no longer off-limits. By 2017, Sydney's gang violence had crossed boundaries, and Ayoub was part of a generation that used violence with 0 rules. Over the years, he was linked to a series of retaliatory attacks as alliances shifted and betrayals sparked bloodshed. Yet Ayoub remained elusive. Despite surveillance and questioning, he wasn't caught. He moved unpredictably, vanishing when the police tried to close in. His ability to escape only added to the fear his name commanded: the mercenary approach, playing all sides. What set Tarek Ayoub apart from other gang members was simple. He wasn't loyal to a gang, he was loyal to power and profit. While most criminals stuck to one organization, whether it was Brothers for Life, the Comancheros, or another syndicate, Ayoub operated like a freelancer of violence. He moved seamlessly between Brothers for Life, the Ahmad family network, the Comancheros, and even the Haro syndicate. In traditional organized crime, kind of disloyalty would get you killed. But Ayoub had skills and connections that made everyone tolerate it, that made him invaluable. Drug operations needed someone who could cross lines. Feuding gangs needed someone who could walk into enemy territory without getting shot. Murder contracts needed someone who could make things happen. Ayoub did all of it. But this approach came at a cost. Other gang members couldn't fully trust him. He'd proven he could work for anyone. Rivals worried he might flip or leak information. By 2024, Ayoub had become dangerous to everyone. A man who knew too much and had proven he'd work with anyone. The life before death by his late 20s. Ayoub was a person of interest for multiple police forces. His phone was tapped, movements tracked, and he was questioned regularly about unsolved murders and organized crime operations. His name filled intelligence files. Even before August 2024, he had survived 2 assassination attempts. 2 separate times, enemies tried to kill him and he walked away. Each close call seemed to deepen his paranoia and heighten the danger around him. In the months before his death, Ayoub lived like a ghost. He never slept in the same place twice, changed vehicles daily, and avoided patterns. Police had warned him he was at imminent risk of homicide. warning that clearly resonated with a man who had already cheated death. Those in Sydney's underworld spoke of him in hushed tones, not with admiration, but fear. One source said everyone liked having a wop around. Until they didn't, his name had become a liability. In the paranoid world of organized crime, association with Tarek Ayoub could make you the next target. The execution, a choreographed killing in the early morning of August 26, 2024. Ayoub left a woman's apartment on Herald Street in Parramatta and walked to his car. What followed would be remembered as one of Sydney's most professional, calculated killings. Around 3:17 a.m., two masked gunmen emerged from the shadows. Over 30 bullets were fired in rapid succession. Ballistic analysis later showing at least two shooters acting in perfect tandem. The woman in the apartment, 5 floors above, described it as fast, rhythmic, mechanical execution style, not panic. Fire by 3:21 a.m., a white SUV was seen leaving the scene. Minutes later, a stolen black Audi SQ5 was found burning in Granville, the getaway car, torched to destroy evidence. Paramedics found Ayoub dead beside his car, keys in hand, engine running. Multiple gunshot wounds. No last words, no struggle, just finality. Detective Superintendent Danny Doherty called it exactly what it was. A targeted execution. The planning, tactical escape, and choice of location all pointed to professionals. More than 30 detectives from homicide, forensics, and organized crime were immediately deployed to investigate. The investigation? Too many motives. Too many suspects when NSW police launched Strike Force Juno to investigate Ayoub's murder. They quickly ran into a unique problem. With most organized crime killings, there's usually a small pool of suspects, a rival gang, a betrayed associate, and unpaid debt. With Tarek Ayoub, there were far too many suspects and motives to narrow it down over the years. Ayoub had worked with multiple rival gangs at the same time, stirring distrust and resentment, been linked to revenge, killings, and contract murders. Stolen market share from competing drug operations. Betrayed gang members or failed to complete assignments. Become a liability due to police surveillance. Made enemies across Sydney's criminal networks. Police explored every theory. Comancheros may have seen him as a rogue element destabilizing their operations. The Ahmad family network could have ordered a hit over past betrayals. The Harrow Syndicate, street-level gangs from Auburn, Bankstown, and Guildford. Associates owed money, or rivals he undercut all, were under suspicion. The burnt-out Audi left no clues. Every forensic trace was deliberately destroyed. No fingerprints, no DNA, no recoverable data. Despite appeals for CCTV and dashcam footage, the attackers remained unknown. Strike Force Juno is still active, but as of now, no arrests have been made. Whoever planned Ayoub's execution was skilled enough to evade one of Sydney's most intensive murder investigations in recent years. What his death meant for Sydney's underworld. When news of Ayoub's execution spread through Sydney's criminal networks, it didn't spark shock. It sparked silence, not the stunned silence of tragedy. This was the deliberate silence that follows a clear demonstration of power. Within 72 hours, phones across multiple organized crime networks went dark. Debts were settled immediately. Known associates either left Sydney or vanished from public view. Police monitoring communications noticed the usual chatter had disappeared. It was as if someone had entered a crowded room and everyone had instantly gone quiet. Gang hotspots saw heavier police patrols, not just to prevent retaliation, but because the balance of power had shifted. No one knew who now held the cards. The message was clear. We can reach anyone, anytime, anywhere. For more than a decade, Sydney had been gripped by gangland violence. Between 2012 and 2024, over 20 organized crime figures were executed. Tarek Ayoub's killing was the first gangland execution in nearly 6 months. Temporary calm, overshadowed by fear of retaliation. Police intensified patrols and intelligence operations across known gang areas. Authorities feared Ayoub's death could spark the revenge cycles that had defined Sydney's underworld for years. Yet, by late 2024 and into 2025, the anticipated tit-for-tat spiral hadn't materialized in the same way. The broader context. Sydney's endless gang wars. To understand Tarek Ayoub, you have to understand the world he moved in. Sydney's underworld isn't like the traditional mafia families you see in movies. It's a constantly shifting web of gangs, motorcycle clubs, family syndicates, and independent operators all competing for control over drugs, protection rackets, and territory. The roots of these modern gang wars stretch back to the heroin boom of the 1970s and decades of battles over illegal gambling, nightclubs, and vice operations. By the 2010s, the structure of organized crime had evolved. Rigid hierarchies gave way to flexible, mercenary arrangement. Perfect terrain for someone like Ayoub to rise, a previous major gang war, which had left over 20 dead and ravaged parts of Sydney for 4 years, had largely wound down by March 2020 for just months before Ayoub's execution. His killing came during a transitional period in the underworld, signaling a potential shift in power rather than a continuation of old feuds. The dark reality behind the legend, it's easy to get swept up in the mythology, the headlines, the nicknames like Angel of Death, the execution in a car park. But the real story behind Tarek Ayoub is far darker. Behind the legend was a 29-year-old whose choices had devastating consequences. Every killing he allegedly orchestrated or carried out cost someone a son, a brother, or a father. Every shipment of meth or cocaine he protected fueled addiction and crime. Every threat he made shattered lives and trust in communities across Sydney. Young people in Western Sydney saw Ayoub and others like him as examples of success, respect, and money. They didn't see the fear, the paranoia, or the inevitable violent end that came with that life. Ahmad belonged to a generation of criminals. Didn't inherit power, they built it. Not through family connections or lifelong loyalty, but through ruthless efficiency and the ability to navigate shifting alliances. But that same adaptability that made him powerful also made him disposable. Once he became a liability, his death was almost inevitable. Where the investigation stands as of late 2025, over a year after his execution, Strikeforce Juno is still actively investigating Ayoub's murder. No arrests have been made, no suspects publicly named. The burnt-out Audi remains as mysterious as the day it was found. The shooters' identities are still unknown. Police have sought dashcam footage, CCTV recordings, and witness tips, and they've chased countless leads. But the precision of the execution, the elimination of forensic evidence, stolen vehicles, coordinated gunfire points to a level of planning far beyond ordinary street gang activity. This is what makes the case so compelling. It's more than a murder investigation. It's a window into how Sydney's organized crime operates at the highest level: planning, coordination, the reach. And it's why Tarek Ayoub's story remains a chilling reminder of just how dangerous and sophisticated the underworld really is. The aftermath, revenge, retribution, and unanswered questions in the days and weeks after Tarek Ayoub's death. Police feared the funeral could ignite a wave of retaliatory attacks. Armed officers surrounded the procession. Fully aware that his associates might use the gathering to strike back at rivals, there was talk of revenge. Associates expressed anger and the desire for retribution. Yet, in the months that followed, the expected surge of gangland violence never came. The tit-for-tat cycle that police had anticipated simply didn't materialize. Whether this was due to a stronger police presence, fear of further bloodshed, or a genuine shift in the balance of power in Sydney's underworld remains uncertain. What is clear is that Ayoub's death sent shockwaves through criminal networks. It was a stark demonstration that no one, even someone with his skills, connections, and fearsome reputation, is untouchable. It highlighted just how ruthless and unpredictable the rules of engagement have become in Sydney's underworld. Conclusion: a cautionary tale. The story of Tarek Ayoub, an angel of death, is ultimately a warning. It reminds us that the glamorized image of gang life is a dangerous illusion. A life built on violence, loyalty to criminals, and fear as currency leaves no safety net. Ayoub was 29 when he died. All that intelligence, all that power, all that capability ended in the time it took to fire 30 bullets. He had survived death twice before, but the third time, there was no escape. His murder remains unsolved. His killers remain unknown. Yet in the apartments, streets, and nightclubs of Western Sydney, his name is still spoken in whispers, not out of admiration, but as a reminder his story could have been anyone's. The true legacy of the Angel of Death isn't a tale of power, it's a warning. In this world, there's no winning. There's only how long you can survive before the game catches up with you.